I here to meet Rishabh, who is running for the board of director of Water Board Zone 7.
Yes.
And he also runs this beautiful Robo Labs over here, which is a small business entrepreneur, young, around, I think you're 25, 26?
I'm 27. How's it
27,
possible?
okay. 27-year-old, and we need fresh blood in this ecosystem, and I'm glad that he has decided to run for office. Would you want to give a brief introduction about yourself to all the community members?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Chirag. This is Chirag Kathrani. He's a candidate for state assembly. I was inspired to run by seeing Chirag taking on these unopposed races in our area. I saw an open seat for Zone 7 Water Board, and I wanted to position myself as a candidate for this role, mostly because I see a lack of Gen Z voices presenting themselves to our community. We have a bunch of older people that may be aging out of their community that don't have their, the best interests of the long-term community in their mind. They're just here for maybe the next 10, 20 years, but we really need to build a sustainable water infrastructure for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I've been a community resident of the Tri-Valley area, Dublin and Centermount for the last 18 years, and I've been personally involved with a number of the community issues regarding, STEM education and running my business here. But I would like to offer my services, I guess, at a greater level to the community by taking on this water board position.
Thanks for a great introduction. And I believe so. It went into extension, right?
Yes, the race went over a few days because there were not enough people running, but now there are more people running. And
Yeah.
it seems like it's a more popular race now.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for taking a lead. I think once you started putting your name out, there are other people who joined the race as well. I'm glad we are able to see more people in it. So, like, explain me what this role is about. As such, what do you see as a currently happening, and what would you do differently than what is currently happening?
Sure. Zone 7 manages water infrastructure all through the Livermore Valley up until the Hayward side, where East Bay Mud takes over from that point. So serving about ratepayers all across, about 250,000 ratepayers exist in this area. And water infrastructure is critical at this juncture because we have a bunch of agricultural presence up north in Livermore that people may or may not know about, but those vineyards consume a lot of water. And communities historically have been competing for water resources with many of these more commercial operations, which is not a bad thing, but the way that the system has been designed is more to support the needs of the commercial applications than the residential applications. So keeping the consumers and the ratepayers in mind is the top priority, should be the top priority of the agency, and not to divest to private interests. I see a number of projects that they may be taking on that could be deemed as frivolous, that come from a more aged practice, and the newer issues that are being brought up, like PFAS and forever chemicals, these are not being handled with the same scrupulousness that some of the older projects that are being pitched. Some things like a pipeline project that may just supply water for less than less than 100 miles, and it costs $250 million. I think we should take a closer look at projects like that, where the money is really going, and if we're taking into account all the new issues and not just the old issues, and the issues of a few should not dictate how the ratepayers and the community are affected.
Wow, $250 million. Wow, that's a big number. Interesting. So, and right now, who are the current representative of Board 7, and are they running for office again, or is it some new people in the office who have stepped up?
I would, the other members that are running for this race, there are very, I would say, single issue, and they also have a more niche track record of experience. While the incumbent candidate may be a good candidate, some of the other candidates are too single focused for, I think, the good of the community. And many of the way that they are talking about the issues doesn't show a depth of knowledge about the community and its understanding. I think we need somebody that is more practical and has a more operator's mindset. I'm not a career politician, and that's not my goal to be a career politician. I'm seeing this role as my ability to contribute in a scientific way to a scientific community with my experiences in STEM. And I would to see more of the programs that Zone 7 has let go in the past come back. Zone 7, I won a award in seventh grade for Zone 7.
Oh, wow.
Yes, when they used to have educational programs that would teach the youth about how their community gets water and where the water supply comes from, how water should be treated. Many of these programs are either been put to the side or just not as implemented as they were in the past. And I think that shows a critical disjointment between where the people that are making decisions and the community sit. So they're, just trying to widen the gap between us as the decision makers and the community as the ratepayers. I think that's not a good move. We have to involve the community. We should let people know where their water comes from, and people should have a trusted and reliable, safe source of water that they understand how the Zone 7 operates. This level of transparency is what I'm hoping to deliver versus other candidates that may rely on their prior experience to create a
So does Pleasanton come in Zone 7?
Yes.
Okay, I remember there was some issue with water in Pleasanton. There are like big voices in the city hall, I think water rates went up by 2 or 3 times, something like that.
Yes, Pleasanton has PFAS in their system. This is a known fact. It has been known for a while. The way the agency has chosen to deal with it is a result of older members of the community that may not recognize it as a problem. We have members of the board that are, quite frankly, unaware of the effects that it might have on the new generations and the next generations. We can't take tests on rats and suggest that they're not going to have any effects on humans. It doesn't make sense. And forever chemicals, plastics in our water, these were not issues that we had prior, 50 years ago. These issues are only getting worse as we build more data centers and as we're pumping more into the water. And as they're looking to expand data centers and manufacturing in the East Bay, these things will get worse. And for us to just deem it as a non-issue due to some studies that were commissioned by the agency, I think it's time that we take a closer look at some of what the reasoning behind us ignoring these issues is.
So when you said the commercial water demand, is it going up or is it going down?
It's gone up every year consistently. These vineyards, they have a high demand, but that's not the concern. It's more about how we are treating our ratepayers of one class versus another class. The residential customers should not be treated any different than the commercial, because at the end of the day, we shouldn't be providing better service just because someone is using more water. Everyone deserves clean, reliable water. It's a basic human right. And Zone 7 is designed to fulfill that human right, where it should not be divested by private interests.
And I think when it comes to PFOS and those issues, your generation should be a big voice here, and I really admire that you stepped up.
Our generation will be the one that is most affected by the decisions of the older generations, and whether they realize it or not, they may not be here in 30 years to worry about it, but we will still have kids and we will still have families that live here in this area that will have had impacts based on the decisions of our prior leaders. And if our kids are, God forbid, any genetic anomalies can be attributed back to some environmental factors, that's clearly unfavorable for a high cost area that needs a reliable water supply. People come here to be clean and healthy. They don't come here to worry about plastic in their water.
They shouldn't be.
No.
Of course. Because I rely on tap water all the time. I never buy water from outside typically.
I don't even keep a water filter because I would like to believe in my water infrastructure, the systems that surround us.
Right. Wow. I think that should be. Give me another good example of this is what when a new board member comes in. What do you think? Because you are deeply rooted to this system, but you have been through, you have been awarded by the Water Zone 7 earlier, so you know this system a lot better than other candidates. But if you get in, and the first thing that on the first day after your inauguration, what would be the first direction that you will be taking?
I won't claim to know more than the other candidates. That's not a side that I can agree with. My perspective is I come in with no interests other than as a community member that is looking to serve the community better. Okay. I've been a community member for the last 18 years, and my relationship with Zone 7 has gone as far back as me in middle school. And for me to see the agency transform into something that I no longer recognize is a bit heartbreaking for me to see. I think the The greater issue is just people seeing this role as a political race and not seeing it as something that is critical to infrastructure and critical to our health and well-being. People should not see this as a position to seize power or grab power. It's a powerful position that will affect the direct health of hundreds of thousands of people. And we need to be responsible in our decision making and not make short-term decisions that have long-term impacts on health.
Wow, I'm glad.
Someone has to be looking out. Otherwise, we won't be in a good place in 40 years, 50 years. It's a long-term vision of mine to see the community that I grew up in thrive and prosper. There's only people that I know around here, right? And the families that I see moving in and the families that I see occupying here, I would like to see them stay and grow and develop in the same way that I had, the same opportunities that I had. Every kid should have a chance to go win a science fair award at Zone 7.
So what you'll be doing for kids if you get into this role? How would you engage the kids to know more about their water infrastructure and build the trust on our own water infrastructure? Do you have any vision on that?
Yes. So Zone 7 currently has a water academy that is fully online for any youth members that would like to learn more about their water infrastructure. This has not been revamped in close to a decade. I think taking a new approach to the learning system and how we're really pushing how water should be consumed in our communities. I remember there used to be a lecture and people would come and talk to us about how water should be, turn off the water tap when you're not brushing your teeth. Make sure that the water they understand that our water is recycled. They understand where the water goes down the drain. People don't have that understanding anymore. People expect it to be some kind of magic. They think water comes out of thin air and they don't understand their systems. And that's scary because the less accustomed and less, intimate people are with their infrastructure and the more disjointed they are, that gives more room for the officials in those seats to make decisions that the people might not be aware of. And that's where a lot of the, poor decisions from the past have been stemming from, is an uneducated public that is unaware of how the decisions that the board are making affect them. And it's up to us to educate the community. It's nobody else's responsibility. So
education is something you already do right now. You're teaching kids, so you're easy to get along with people, and you would be educating a lot of people on that role.
Being an educator is my main.
Yes, that's a good. We need to connect the community back into the political ecosystem, or what the things that matter them a lot more. I wouldn't say it as a political ecosystem. I would rather say it as a community leadership ecosystem that we need to have here.
I'm not just a teacher. I'm also a lifelong learner. I understand this role has multiple requirements, and it's not just a come sit on the board and vote. You have to understand the systems that we have. It might take me driving out and looking at what projects are being done. I met with the water board president, Kathrani, and she suggested that I do that. She suggested that I actually go drive out and see what these aqueducts look like, these aqua plants and the pipes, where they're being placed. All of it is still a very physical operation, whether we think about it or not. But these are real pipes in the ground that hundreds of thousands of people are using. And as we age these infrastructure and as we, maybe cheap out on the contractors, things like that will have a greater effect through the generations that we may not see. So it comes down to, I think, just having the best idea for what the community needs and how to implement it.
You seem pretty grounded.
I have to be. All my rules require me to be.
Sure. No, as a small business owner, we have to be grounded. I totally get that. Thank you. I think that should be all for today.
Thank you for your time, Chirag.
Sure. Thanks, Rishabh. How it came. Now you can edit it. You did.